Alright, we have good news. The new heads arrived. So we've been waiting for this moment for quite a while to enrich the experience that we get from the ABR Tools, increase diversity of the responses. Before we were limited to the small foam head, flat plastic head and rubber head. Now
Ahora
we got the increase in sizes
tenemos
and change of fabric. So let's start with this. Well, that's the large foam head. So obviously, large foam head aimed at the same pits and grooves allows us to cover a lot more.
Eso nos permite cubrir mucho más
and spread things a lot further.
Y propagar las cosas mucho más lejos.
Pero it has the same type of fabric and density. Now,
y ahora
we get the next two stars. So these are
que son
the silicone heads. So this is a very different experience, which I find it a really lovely response when it comes to the level of the joints, to the level of the spine. So, but in short, everything that has to do with pits and grooves
y surcos.
This is where we have the new opportunities with these two heads.
Con estos dos cabezones.
In fact, the silicone becomes the leading one, but it doesn't mean that we throw away the foam heads. Again,
de nuevo,
we have this opportunity now
ahora esta oportunidad
to have a whole spectrum of the responses.
De respuestas.
So, most of the times,
la mayoría de las veces,
we are looking for this kind of rotation of heads. Say, 1 week you do one, the next week you do another one.
Otra semana usas otra, etc.
But sometimes we'll be specific.
Somos específicos
in recommending a particular head as a preferred one. And that brings us to these two very specific heads. So this is a bit more unique. So far not going to be so popular, but this is really a very interesting specific kind of configuration which we will be aiming at the feet,
los pies,
through the socks problem and Achilles tendon.
Así como el tendón de Aquiles.
So that's a kind of special head. But this is going to be super popular. So that's a flat silicone head, this cheerful greenish color. But at the same time, you see it has this little hair. So, which is kind of a very interesting additional buffer, which allows us to increase the range of initial contact and kind of add this little extra buffer because the resistance of this hair is different from the resistance of the bulk of the thing. We add additional gradient in entering the tissue. And as a secret, surprise there,
sorpresa.
This particular head is going to get popular in the new technique which received the name of the dynamic foam technique, where we're going to use it for sensitive areas, including the neck and, well, of course I will explain it, but the Lord that will be working at a more superficial coverage, so literally using the foam itself as a dynamic interface. So that might sound a bit cryptic now, but it will be very clear when you're being shown those techniques. So again, as a summary, I'm very happy that we now have a lot more in menu of heads, and that is going to enrich the responses, which we can get with the same tools, the same velocities and so on. So diversify the tissue response, because even at its base, we remember this basic thing. You want to have this small variations of the tissue loading, right? So you see the famous concept of muscle confusion that exists in fitness, so that you don't do the same type of routine all the time, because then the body just accommodates and doesn't change. To a similar but less extent is true with the fascia as well. So where we often see how the change of the head, same application, then boosts and brings the new response. So that's probably enough to get this news back where they belong, into this nice pack. So this is it, the end of the news section
La
of the
presentación.
extended head pack. Looking forward
Tengo
to
muchas
start
ganas.
using this to help your children improve even better and faster.